have you ever wondered where Jake's powers actually come from?
I went into the mud and I guess I became a magic dog?
Sorry, Jake, but you are wrong. Where does he actually come from? Who is his real father? And what sinister intentions lie behind his creation? We're uncovering hidden secrets you never knew and exploring the dark truth that shapes Jake's destiny. But real quick, if you've seen my content before or just like Adventure Time, please consider subscribing. It helps out so much, but I won't hold you any longer. Let's get back into it. For the longest time, Jake had thought his powers were a mere result of rolling around in the mud. But the true answer to his mysterious abilities finally begins to reveal itself in the episode Joshua and Margaret Investigations from Season 6, Episode 16. In this episode, Jake finds himself tasked by Finn and BMO to share a story about their parents. The story that unfolds is not just a story. It's an intriguing piece of the puzzle that is Jake's past. Jake narrates a thrilling tale from the days when his mother, Margaret, was expecting their brother, Jermaine. Amidst an investigation regarding a pie theft, Margaret and Joshua, their father, encounter a mysterious blue shape-shifting creature. A creature that viewers can't help but wonder might be linked to Jake's own shape-shifting abilities. The encounter is far from ordinary. Joshua gets bitten by the creature, and Margaret embarks on a daring quest to retrieve more venom from the same creature. But the venom brings about a bizarre effect on Joshua. A blue lump grows on his head, which unexpectedly bursts, revealing an even bigger surprise: a puppy, Jake. The circumstances of Jake's birth are nothing short of extraordinary. Yet, Joshua and Margaret choose to embrace Jake as their own, keeping the strange tale of Jake's birth a secret from him. This secrecy would be the source of many unanswered questions that viewers may start to ask, including myself. As Jake finally concludes his story, he admits that his parents never shared the full circumstances of his birth with him. The story ending with more questions than answers about the true nature of Jake's stretchy powers. This is the very first glimpse into the origin of Jake's powers, but as the story unfolds, a sense of anticipation builds. The hint of a revelation looms large, and viewers can feel that change is on the horizon. The mysterious blue shape-shifting creature that had such a significant role in Jake's birth is not forgotten, its identity remaining a mystery, but not for long. During the episode The First Investigation from Season 10, Episode 8, Jake finally learns how he was birthed, and he is messed up by it. After all this, coming to terms with this mysterious origin, accepting who he is, all gets messed up in the blink of an eye. This is the very first episode we finally hear the mysterious blue shape-shifting creature talk.
We have to leave.
Although he gets a very brief cameo, and we still don't know the name of this mysterious blue shape-shifting creature, but we finally hear him talk. We're making some progress. He touches Jake, which turns him blue again, and tells him that they have to leave. But when he tells Jake they have to leave, he calls Jake his son.
Let's go, son.
Jake does notice that it is weird that they both have the same shape-shifting power, but eventually agrees to leave with this weird blue shape-shifting creature. He opens up a portal, conjures up a lie to stop Finn from coming along, and off they go into this weird new dimension. Are you ready, folks? The big reveal. Jake's biological dad is...
My name is Warren Ampersand.
Surely his name has nothing to do with the deeper meaning of who he actually is, right? Oh boy. But this isn't over yet. Warren Ampersand tells Jake that he used his last bit of power and energy to bring Jake back to their home planet. He tells Jake that Jake is the prophecy that will save the universe and their home planet from Ixkana, who wants to stretch across the entire galaxy, strangling every being that gets in his way. But Warren Ampersand lied to Jake. He is his real dad, but he didn't bring him here for the reasons he told Jake. And this leaves even more questions. Like, why did he lie to Jake to bring him here? What even is Warren Ampersand? Don't worry, I will reveal it all. Let's get into it. Warren Ampersand had not only tricked Jake into coming to this alien planet under false pretenses, but he also lied about his motive. His true goal was not to save their home planet from destruction by Ixkana, but rather to steal Jake's stretchy powers to rejuvenate himself, extending his lifespan at the cost of his son's vitality. But why did Warren need to lie to Jake? Why couldn't he just ask Jake to willingly give him his powers? As it turns out, the process of transferring these powers isn't just physical. It requires a level of emotional bond and trust. By pretending to be a caring and protective father, Warren aimed to manipulate Jake, inducing a sense of obligation and affection in his son. He anticipated that the newly formed bond would make Jake more susceptible to the power transfer. Warren's deception deepened when he showed Jake the false prophecy of the monster Ixkana. His aim was to push Jake to his limits, stretching his powers to the maximum extent, making them ripe for stealing. In the stage fight fight against the non-existent monster was the culmination of this plan. However, Jake is not someone who easily falls for manipulation. As he starts realizing Warren's true intentions, he decides to fight back. The turning point is when Jake switches the belts, taking back his powers and leaving Warren in a weakened state. In a final act of selflessness, Jake throws Warren towards a black hole to protect his own children from Warren's predatory intentions. It's pretty unclear if Warren Ampersand actually ends up biting the dust. His last words were,
"I'm going 4D, baby."
but more on that in a little bit. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Who, or rather what exactly, is Warren Ampersand? It's in the very words Warren and ampersand. The word Warren refers to a network of interconnecting rabbit burrows. In a broader sense, it can be used to describe any complex maze-like structure. This could symbolize the convoluted, deceptive scheme that Warren Ampersand orchestrated to manipulate Jake. Just like a rabbit in a warren, Warren kept Jake lost and confused in the elaborate ruse he had designed. The ampersand is a symbol used to indicate and, connecting two concepts together. It's interesting that Warren's name contains a symbol of connection, considering his primary aim is to form a manipulative bond with Jake to exploit his powers. The ampersand could also suggest a continuation, an ongoing process or cycle. This reflects Warren's aim of continuing his existence by repeatedly draining the life force of his offspring. Together, Warren ampersand might symbolize a continuation, complex and deceptive process of bonding and manipulation. It's as if his entire existence revolves around creating these warrens of deception and using the ampersand to bridge his life force with that of his offspring, continuing his own life at their expense. Now, back to Warren's supposed fate. Warren Ampersand's last words,
"I'm going 4D, baby,"
can be interpreted in a few different ways. Given Warren's history of deceit and manipulation, these words could also be a final trick or riddle for Jake to solve. This statement keeps his fate ambiguous and ensures that his presence continues to loom over Jake. Who knows? Maybe even a mini-series, kind of like Distant Lands, but focusing on the parents of the main characters from the show. I mean, think about how perfect that would be. An episode that focuses on Marceline's parents, especially her mother Elise. Another episode that maybe focuses more on Finn's parents. Although they got an episode already, something more in depth would be awesome. Then another episode could highlight Flame Princess's parents. And finally, the last episode would cover Jake's biological dad, Warren Ampersand, picking up right where we left off with his ambiguous exit. Saying that out loud, that seems like a perfect mini-series. Now also, remember that an ampersand links two related things. By saying he's going 4D, Warren may symbolically be referring to the connection between life and death, hinting at his ability to transcend this boundary. There is still one massive question left unanswered. What is Warren Ampersand? How did he get his start? Is he a primordial being like Kokon Tepe? Well, in my opinion, I don't think he is. Don't get me wrong, Warren Ampersand has some crazy powers that may rival those of the primordials, but something just feels off. He just doesn't seem to be on the same levels of the other primordials like Orgalorg and Kokon Tepe, which leads us directly into what I think he actually is. Warren Ampersand's story scarily resembles that of Ego and Star-Lord from the MCU. Now hear me out. Ego, like Warren, traveled across the universe, fathering children in his quest to find another being who shared his celestial powers. Upon discovering Star-Lord, his son, who inherited his abilities, Ego lured him into his planet, pretending to offer the father-son relationship Star-Lord had always yearned for. Now, is this starting to sound familiar? But beneath this facade of fatherly love, Ego harbored ulterior motive. He wished to use his Star-Lord's power to initiate the expansion, a plan to reshape all life in the universe in his image. This plan required Star-Lord's energy to be completed, just as Warren needed Jake's stretchy powers to prolong his own life. And much like Jake, Star-Lord eventually discovered his father's true intentions, leading to a confrontation where Star-Lord effectively kills his father. Ego in the MCU is a celestial entity, a primordial cosmic being who utilized a humanoid avatar to interact with other species. He is also an entire planet composed of his own substance. Likewise, Warren's homeworld seems to have some connection to him, as seen when the terrain appears to be stretchy, like Warren himself, and even Warren revealing that the entire planet is actually just him. Both Ego and Warren Ampersand are manipulative, primordial figures who present a charming exterior to mask their self-serving intentions. They both deceive their sons with prophecies and promises of great destinies, only to exploit their powers for their own benefits. The parallels with Ego could hit towards his beginnings. Perhaps Warren, like Ego, is a cosmic entity who developed consciousness over millions of years. His stretchy powers could be an inherent aspect of his cosmic physiology. Just as Ego's celestial abilities are part of his nature, he might have wandered the universe, as Ego did, biting the heads of unknown beings like Joshua on various planets to create offspring that would inherit his powers. Upon discovering Jake, he might have realized that Jake is the first of his offspring to successfully inherit his powers, leading him to reconnect with his son. In Adventure Time's universe, beings with extraordinary powers often have humble beginnings. For example, the Lich, one of the most powerful beings in the universe, originated from a comet that crashed into Earth. Perhaps Warren too began as a humble cosmic entity, gradually developing consciousness and stretchy powers over millions of years. His quest for immortality then led him to father offspring across the universe, hoping to find a child who inherited his powers, which he could exploit to prolong his life. It's safe to say that Warren Ampersand is a unique entity within the Adventure Time universe, bearing a closer resemblance to cosmic beings like Ego from the Marvel universe than the primordial beings within his own universe. Just as Ego serves as a foil to Star-Lord, illuminating his fears, insecurities, and moral dilemmas, Warren mirrors Jake, amplifying his inner struggles with identity and self-acceptance. The deceptive and manipulative father figure adds a darker edge to Jake's otherwise lighthearted, carefree personality, underscoring his strength and resilience. I'm actually really curious about your own thoughts. Do you see the similarities between Warren Ampersand and MCU's Ego, or do you have a unique perspective to share? Do you find the words Warren and Ampersand and their deeper meanings behind his character as intriguing as I do? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. Who knows, your theory could shape the focus of my next investigation. But we've unraveled some of Jake the Dog's journey today, revealing his encounters with enigmatic beings like Warren Ampersand, his true biological father. But have you ever wondered about other intriguing characters that lurk within the Adventure Time universe? What if I told you that there's a character whose genius is only surpassed by her mysterious past and complex motivation? Someone who is far more entwined with the storylines of our beloved heroes than you might think. In the next video, we're delving deep into the character of Dr. Gross, unveiling her untold truth. I promise you an eye-opening revelation that will forever transform your understanding of Adventure Time. So click on to the next video and let's uncover the fascinating truth of Dr. Gross together. You ready for this deep dive? But as always, my friends, stay adventurous.